All right, everybody. Welcome back to the Armory today. It's a nice cool day here in the Rocky Mountain West, and we are working to finish the Mosin test rifle, as we outlined in the prior video. I spoke to both the gunsmiths that I work with on a regular routine basis, and both of them are swamped with work. So, we are going to attempt to install the Optic rail ourselves. And we're going to hope we don't mess this up. So, let me show you some of the keys to setting this up properly. Do not do this with a hand drill. You need a drill press. Thankfully, I've got a drill press. I've got all the drills and taps and everything. So, let me walk through the basic steps of setup, and we will get started on this right away. So the first thing you want to know, where is this going to sit? So we're going to try to line this up with the edge of the receiver, and you can see the flats of the hex really nicely. So we can line it up with the end of the receiver. Now, a couple of things you got to know that's going on inside the receiver where we're putting these screws. The first thing we need to know is where are the barrel threads, where's the chamber. So I've got a barrel that's been removed from the action, and this is actually a Finish M39, so this will work fantastically for what we need to know. But we can line up the shoulder of the barrel, the shank, with the end of the receiver, and we can see where the barrel bottoms out into the receiver. We can see and establish an approximation. This is not going to be exactly for each different one, but we know the barrel is going to be somewhere right about this area. Now, if we set up and line up the rail with the end of the barrel, we can see the forward screw is going to be rearward of the end of the barrel. So that's perfect. We're not going to hit the barrel. We're not going to hit the chamber. And that is probably the most important thing you need to make sure you do not do. So with this screw, it will not interfere with the threads of the barrel. Secondly, right behind the threads of the barrel, and I've got another receiver right here, and we can look inside here, there's a shoulder down inside the barrel right here, and this is what the barrel bottoms into. So the screw will come behind that, so we need to know how thick is that, and it doesn't look very thick. So the next thing we're going to come into is it's likely going to come behind that shoulder, and that is right where the locking lugs are. Now, on a Mosin, the locking lugs, you can see one right there. Right here, the second step down inside there. And oh, right there. Right here is going to be the second locking surface. So what that is going to do is tell us that we don't want to hit a locking lug, and we don't want to interfere with the raceway that the locking lugs run into. So, basically, when you measure this, the screw is going to fall right into the raceway. So, what we need to do is we need to make sure, A, when this is drilled and tapped, the screw is then trimmed to the appropriate length. So when you cycle the bolt locking lugs do not hit the screw. And secondly, we need to make sure we don't leave any burrs or anything like that inside there that will likewise also interfere with the travel of the bolt. So that'll be real easy to take care of. Secondly, he said to install the first screw, the first forward screw, and then do the side screw. And what that does is if there's any movement or play or oopsie, if you drill this second one, it can actually be cocked off a little bit and it will throw everything out of whack. And basically he said, do the front, do the rear, then come back and do the middle. So the middle screw is basically going to fall into this rear area where, again, the locking lug rides in the unlocked position. So if we were to install this, the locking lug right here runs right into this little raceway machined into the top of the receiver right here, and then turns and cams over to the lug machined into the receiver. So just like the first one, but probably more important, because the screws do look a little bit on the long side, we're definitely going to have to trim the screw down to a much shorter size for the rear. So let's get to it. Put all this stuff down. First thing we're going to need to do is we're going to need to hole punch this. And I don't think my camera is going to let me do that. So let me move the camera real quick and I'm going to hole punch this. And then we'll go from there. Oh, okay. So that is just like all the people say it is harder than the hubs of hell. But I do have, and the camera will not focus, but it took dulling 3 different countersinks to get a mark. So, yeah, that's hard. That is some very hard freaking steel. Ooh. Secondly, we'll go right to the drill bits. Now, I spent my life in the automotive world and metalworking. For super hard metals, the bare minimum is a cobalt drill bit. And this is what I have here. It's just a good cobalt drill bit. This one is a Milwaukee brand, but pretty much any brand should work. And for super hard metals, you want to get more than one, because it is very, very common when you're working with hard material that you're just going to trash the drill bit. And the worst thing you can do is try to just keep drilling and drilling and drilling on a wore-out drill bit. They do not cut. You're gonna be hating life. So make sure you have more than one drill bit. And these are good for, I went and bought a fresh tap, just because, again, when you're working with really hard material, things happen. So, nice, fresh, brand new tap. Now, I have been told that if you're going to put a rail on a Mosin, your tap is going to be trash after those 3 holes are tapped. So, the key to this is just going to be lube. You want as much lube as you can on the drill bit, on the tap, on everything, and you want to go nice and slow. You want to just let the cutter do the cutting. Don't let the speed do the cutting. Go nice and low. on a tiny drill bit like this. I'll set up my drill press to its slowest speed and just let it ease and let it eat. So let me get to this and we'll see how this first hole drills. So be right back. All right, nice and slow, and the hole drilled real smooth. It wasn't the hardest material I've ever come in contact with, but it's still pretty hard. But it did drill real nice, actually. So I may not need an extra drill bit, which is good. So here, this is a tap guide. This, especially on a nice flat surface like this, will keep your tap perpendicular to the surface. You just need the right hole. So use a tap guide. Don't do this freehand. It will get cocked off sideways. It's just the rule of the game. Use a tap guide. These are fairly inexpensive. Or you can actually make your own with just a nice squared off piece of metal. Drill the appropriate hole in a drill press so it's nice and perpendicular, and it'll guide the tap nice and straight into the hole. So we're going to get on that next. All right. So as you can see, or maybe not, the hole is threaded. Now it comes through. Let's see if we can get a... Oh, you see... There we go. You can see the hole coming through right into that beveled area right at the leading edge of the locking lug raceway. So I think we're going to be okay. I did test fit a screw, and it is threaded nice and perfect. So let's get the rail put on. Oh, and by the way, while you're running the tap, I just use a really good high temp grease. It seems to catch the chips a little bit better and keeps it a little bit cleaner. But while you're running this, do not be aggressive. Take little bites. I do about a half turn, quarter turn. Be real careful, especially with these smaller taps. I'm used to running big taps. These small ones will break, and that will end your day. It will end your build. Taps do not come out nicely. They usually require fire or lots of hammering, and it is not fun. Be very, very gentle with small taps. Take little bits, back it off. Little bits, back it off every few turns. Pull it out, put some fresh grease on it, put it back in. Make it very slow, just little bits. So let's get this rail set on. We'll go ahead and screw it down nice and tight, and we'll get a point to drill a hole on the rear. All right, see you in a bit. Okay, so we can see the rail is right up against the front leading edge of the receiver, and I like the way it's fitting. So we're going to get this hole done. Let's get it done. All right, screw number 2 in. Now we're just going to get this last hole done, and we are done with this rail. It's coming out real nice. So let's get this last one done, and we'll call this rail project done for now. All right, we have all 3 holes drilled. Mount is solid. All 3 screws screw in real nice and easy. And all we got left to do is trim the screws, or I might just go to the hardware store and get proper length screws, but you can see they stick down really far. Now the rear screw does come out, but it does not come out further than the stripper clip guide. So that one will be fine with the length it is. But the front 2, as you can see right there, those front 2 are going to need to be much shorter. So maybe I'll just go to the hardware store and see if I can get some shorter bolts, and we also got to do Loctite and a whole bunch of other stuff. They do recommend bedding the rail, but I don't think I'm going to do that, at least not just yet. I might think about it and do that later, but yeah, everything went fantastically. Just remember, fresh drill bit, cobalt drill bits are fantastic for these hard metals. Go real slow, use lots of lube, and she'll cut just perfectly. Tap, go nice and slow. It's a very small tap. Be real gentle. Use a tap guide. Keep it nice and straight, and everything comes out just fine. Like I said, this is the first one I've done. I'm not scared of drilling and tapping, but usually let my gunsmith handle stuff like this just because he's already set up to do stuff like this, and generally I don't have a whole lot of time throughout the week. So it usually is just better for me to drop it off with him and have him do it. But yeah, it actually went very, very smoothly. This metal is super hard. Like I said, my drift punches are dull. You can actually see that one is totally dull. It did a number on my drift punches, so may have to get better drift punches. So thanks for watching so far, and we'll catch you on the next video where we continue with this project. Bye now.